Welcome back to my next video on Vedic astrology. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the effect of Sun if it happens to be in your 6th house. And for this purpose, I'm going to use only the Bhava Chart. So does this mean that you can do away with the Rashi chart? That's not true, because only from the Rashi chart you will know whether the Sun in your horoscope is exalted or debilitated, or if it's in its own house, like as in Leo, or it is in the sign of Saturn, its arch rival. So let's get on to the green board to discuss this matter further.
There are 12 different possibilities for the Sun to be in your 6th house. That is because there are 12 ascendants, and in case if the ascendant is Mesha or Aries, then you will have it over here in the sign of Mars, and therefore the Sun here in this chart is in the 6th house, which may also coincide with your Rashi as the 6th sign. So another way of having the Sun in the 6th house is if you have the ascendant on Taurus or Rishabha Lagna, and then the Sun might be here, in which case it is in the house of Venus, the sign of Venus, or this Sun is debilitated. So in this way, you may shift the Lagna to all the 12 Lagnas, and then you have 12 different possibilities. One interesting possibility is if you have the ascendant in Vrishchika or Scorpio, and then you have the Sun in the 6th house. In this case, the Sun is elevated, is exalted, and because of that, whatever good has been attributed to the Sun being in the 6th house is fully applicable in this case. But sometimes you find a graha like Saturn getting close to the Sun in the 6th house, in which case whatever positive which has been said about the Sun being in the 6th house, all that is not going to happen, because the arch rival Saturn is also sitting along with the Sun and disturbing it. Let's go back to Bhrigu Sutra and then find out what Sage Bhrigu has said about the Sun being in the 6th house. The first word Sage Bhrigu says is Alpa Jati. He says the native may belong to the lower caste if the Sun is in the 6th house. In those days, the caste system was not exactly what it means as of today. The caste system has nothing to do with dignity, but it was to do with the type of work that the person was doing. He will have many enemies, Shatru Vriddhi. Despite that, he will be well off financially, Dhana Dhanya Samriddhi. In his 20th year, the native will suffer from eye diseases. Vimshati Varshe Netra Vaiparityam Bhavati. But if the Sun is aspected by a benefic, Shubha Drushta-Yutey na Dosha. So here he says, if the Sun is aspected by a benefic or is with a benefic, he will not suffer from eye afflictions. So it means that the possibility of eye afflictions are there. Let's say if Saturn was here, or if Rahu was here. But on the other hand, let's say if Jupiter was here, then he says the eye diseases are not possible. The native will wander in the jungles and will take great interest in chanting mantras. He will have good reputation, but he will have mental worries and will be constitutionally hot. The Sanskrit word is Mahoshna Dehi, very hot. This may mean acidic. It may refer to the pitta that is referred to in Ayurvedic textbooks. If the Lord of the 6th house is associated with a benefic, the native will enjoy good health. Sage Bhrigu has a unique approach while reading the effects of the grahas in various houses. Apart from discussing the very planet, he also constantly refers to the status of the Lord of the 6th house to know more about what's happening in the 6th house. So if the Lord of the 6th house is associated with a benefic, the native will enjoy good health. He will have many relations and many enemies. If the Lord of the 6th is weak, there will be destruction of enemies. Here he means to say that if the Lord of the 6th is weak, then there is the destruction of enemies. And if the Lord of the 6th is strong, then there are many enemies. Pitru Durbalaha. The father will also possess a weak constitution. This much Sage Bhrigu has given in Bhrigu Sutra. If you want to know what the other textbooks are saying about the 6th house Sun, then the first one is Brihat Jataka by Sri Varahamira. The person born will be powerful, but will be overpowered by his enemies. Phaladeepika, another classical book, says the native will be glorious like a king. He will be famous, wealthy, endowed with good qualities and be a conqueror. Saravali says the native will be very passionate, will suffer from acidic troubles, will be powerful, wealthy, a king or be like a king, maybe associated with a king. Chamatkar Chintamani says the native will be a destroyer of enemies. His wealth will be spent on the king, the government, or on his friends. He will also be troubled by maternal relatives and animals and tribal people. In general, the sixth house is more to do with enemies, disease. That's why we find many statements connected to diseases and enemies. The sixth house is also the house of relatives. So this has also been mentioned here. From this text, we also have understood that if the Lord of the sixth house is strong, the negative significations of the sixth house will gain strength, and there will be great harm and trouble from the enemies. On the other hand, if the Lord is weak, the significations will become weak, and therefore there will be destructions of enemies, or there may be no enemies.
I hope you have gained some knowledge in Vedic astrology by watching this video. And in case you have any doubts, please type them out in the comment section. And whenever I find the time, I'll answer them for you.